You've spent your entire life watching the world through a pane of glass. You see people connecting, laughing at jokes you find hollow, and finding deep satisfaction in routines that feel like a slow, agonizing death to you. You don't feel superior. You feel isolated. You've spent years trying to solve the mystery of why you can't just be happy with the simple things that everyone else seems to love. You are not broken. You are simply a high-performance processor trapped in a low-bandwidth world. The deepest ache you carry is the silent, persistent longing to be normal. You've tried to fix your intensity by staying quiet. You've tried to dampen your curiosity to avoid being too much for the room. It failed because you were trying to fit a jet engine into a frame built for a lawnmower. You don't apologize for your mind, but you do suffer because of it. You feel a heavy sense of otherness, a quiet suspicion that you are speaking a complex, multi-layered language while everyone else is still struggling to learn the alphabet. Today, we stop trying to cure your intelligence as if it were a disease. By the end of this, you will understand that your restlessness, your skepticism, and your difficult nature are not flaws. They are the cognitive signatures of a mind that works differently because it was built for more. It is time to stop dimming your light just to make the room feel more comfortable for everyone else. You have spent your life trying to cure your intensity. You've labeled your restlessness as anxiety and your boredom as a lack of discipline. You've looked at people who are content with simple answers and felt a deep, painful envy. You just want to belong. Stop. That story is a cage built by a world that wasn't designed for your speed. You are not socially awkward or over-analytical. You are a high-precision instrument that was calibrated for a level of complexity that most people will never encounter. You are not too much. You're simply operating at a higher frequency. Most people never realize these patterns in themselves, but if your mind truly works differently, you will recognize several of them immediately. Here are the 7 hidden signs. 1. The why reflex. You cannot simply follow a rule because it exists. Your brain demands the underlying logic and the systemic purpose before it can even begin to engage. 2. Pattern recognition overload. You see the end of the movie, the flaw in the business plan, or the inevitable outcome of a social conflict before anyone else has even finished the first act. 3. The small talk tax. Casual conversation feels like a physical drain on your energy. Your brain is starving for depth and finds surface-level data to be cognitively expensive and exhausting. If these first signs feel familiar, the next one might explain something you've struggled with for years. 4. Chronic intellectual boredom. You don't need more work, you need harder work. Without a complex problem to solve, your mind turns inward and begins to eat itself. 5. The glass wall sensation. You can simulate social belonging perfectly, but you always feel like an observer, never a participant. You are constantly translating their world into yours in real time. 6. Sensory and cognitive intensity. You don't just hear music or see art, you experience it as a structural, emotional, and mathematical event. Your sensitivity is actually high-resolution data processing. 7. The perfectionist curse. You don't seek perfection because you are insecure. You seek it because you can see the ideal version of a thing so clearly that anything less feels like a betrayal of the truth. You have been hiding because you deeply crave the warmth of the group, but you are simply not sure how to step inside and truly be a part of it. You have spent a lifetime performing a version of yourself that is palatable, carefully editing your thoughts just to feel the simple safety of belonging. But the tragedy of this mask is that it rarely works. Others don't see your brilliance. They only see your strangeness. You are exhausting yourself to build a bridge to a world that still treats you like a foreigner. Why does a high-performance mind feel like a social burden? The answer lies in your neural architecture. Your brain isn't just faster. No, it is structurally different, operating with a higher degree of synaptic connectivity. First, you experience hyper-excitability. Your neurons fire with greater intensity, amplifying every sensory and emotional experience. You aren't sensitive. You are a high-definition screen in a world of standard definition. Second, your reward signals are tied to complexity. While others find satisfaction in simple tasks, your brain only releases its drive chemistry when it is solving a multi-layered systemic problem. Without that challenge, your mind begins to atrophy. Third, the consequence is cognitive isolation. You are constantly pre-processing outcomes and seeing 3 steps ahead, creating a temporal lag between you and the world. You aren't arrogant. You are simply operating with a wider field of vision, seeing the entire forest while others are still arguing over a single tree. This is the biological reality of a brain that lacks cognitive brakes. For 99% of human history, the survival of the tribe depended on the scouts, the outliers who saw patterns in the weather, the herds, and the hidden flaws in a plan. Your ancestors were the early warning system, connecting dots that others missed. Your intensity was not a social burden. It was a biological necessity. The modern world has forgotten the value of the scout, demanding sameness instead of depth. This leaves you feeling like a relic, wired for a purpose that feels invisible today. The otherness you feel, the guilt for being too much, is simply your elite survival hardware, searching for its tribe. You aren't broken for wanting to belong. You are a specialist in a world that has traded vision for speed. Now it's time to build a protocol that honors your design. You do not need to fix your mind. You need to curate your environment. When you implement these 4 shifts, the isolation of being different begins to dissolve. 1. The gift of depth. Stop trying to find total fulfillment in every social circle. Dedicate time each day to a high bandwidth pursuit, a complex problem, or a deep study. By feeding the engine what it craves in private, you reduce the desperate hunger for depth in casual settings. 2. The end of the mask. Stop pretending to be normal and start being selective. You don't have to dump your entire internal forest on everyone you meet. Practice sharing one high-resolution thought at a time. You aren't hiding. You are choosing who earns the right to see the full map. 3. The power of peers. You cannot find belonging in a group that doesn't speak your language. Actively seek out other scouts, high-performance processors in niche communities or intellectual circles. You move from being the weird one to being the peer. 4. The right to quiet. Your intensity is a data processing event. Recognize when your bandwidth is full. Give yourself permission to leave overstimulating environments without guilt. You are not antisocial. You are simply managing your elite hardware. Be brilliant as you are. It is time to seek out your true tribe, those other high-performance minds who meet your depth with depth of their own, who challenge you without being threatened, and who value you for your insight, not just your utility. When you find them, you move from the exhaustion of masking to the power of genuine contribution. You no longer act to fit in. You act because you have a vision that the world desperately needs. And here is the secret. When you finally use your mind for what it was built for, your suffering in the presence of others begins to fade. You no longer feel the friction of being misunderstood. Instead, you find that in the company of those who process the world more simply, you can finally relax. You don't need them to be your intellectual peers to value their warmth. You can enjoy their presence as a place of rest precisely because you are here no longer starving for depth. Ignite your inner light, step into the sun, and own your brilliance as a gift.